when we go into this Elimination Chamber, you have to look at the go-home show before you go into it, because it really is supposed to give you really strong interest in going into this one, which we know is not that great. It's going to be on the WWE app and the network only. It's not going to be on regular television. You're not going to be able to see it unless you stream it. But going into this, do I actually have interest? Yes, I do, under only one condition. When you look at this Raw, the majority of people that are in the Elimination Chamber in this Raw, and they're mostly NXT former wrestlers or current wrestlers. That, by itself, gives me interest. And this is all I care about. I don't just see old, used up wrestlers. I see new wrestlers that come in. Have they good storylines? Oh, hell no. You cannot honestly tell me that storylines are plenty in Raw and SmackDown. They're just not. We got bullshit. But the roster has been flooded with new talent. And that's something that we've been screaming about for years. We need new talent on the roster. And finally, we have a good amount of talent that has given us some interest. Now, let's get into the Zack Ryder and John Cena match, because I don't really care a fuck about Entourage. I have never seen it. I have heard it, and I've seen some episodes, like 1 or 2 episodes, but I don't find it interesting, to me personally. It's just not a very interesting reality TV show. It just isn't. But I'm getting rid of it right now. The match for Zack was good. It's a former, well, let's put it like this. Zack Ryder has had his moments, and he had to make himself by himself because WWE didn't want to do anything with him. And they basically buried him back where he was before. But at least he got a chance to have one match in Nassau Coliseum, which is in Long Island. Not many people get that opportunity, particularly about to tear the damn thing down. Was it a good match? Let's just say Zack represented himself well. And the key of this entire thing that makes it even more better for me, Kevin Owens, who is the current NXT champ, pop-up powerbombs John Cena with almost no effort necessary. He just did it and it was over. Now, when you come to this conclusion, as I will, you wonder, Kevin Owens at this moment in time, is he going to win this match or not? As far as I can see it, it really doesn't matter. He getting represented at all is the most important thing here. And it also gives more interest to the brand of NXT. Because this is what this show entirely was about, as far as I'm concerned. We see more NXT people here than anything else in the last 3 years. And that really makes me very happy. Rusev's moment. I'm going to be honest here. If anyone disagrees with me, explain the reason why. I see one major problem with this storyline that Rusev, Dolph, and Lana is in. Lana's the only one getting over here. And that's the problem for me personally. If Lana was not so well over by the crowd, I mean, let's be honest here. Lana is being loved. Is the darling of the WWE. She's the most over female at this moment. Taken away from Paige, taken away from anyone in the Divas division. She's not even a diva. She's just a manager. And she's the most over woman there. And the problem I see is that Dolph and Rusev are not getting anything out of this. Yeah, Rusev got some time to talk and it shows he can act. No problem. You got Dolph who's seen, and that's okay. But then Dolph is still back in mid-card hell in exactly the same situation he was. He had Vicky, he got AJ, and now he has Lana. And as much as everyone wants to see Lana kiss the fuck out of a Dolph Ziggler, what does it really give to Dolph? Nothing. Because when this feud is all over, and if Lana's still with him, the person that's going to get the most pops here, or the most heat, will be Lana. And that upsets me, because Dolph, who had an opportunity to be in main event and be a mid-carder that is now a main event jobber, is doing nothing again. And if anyone doesn't like me calling Dolph a main event jobber, tell me why I should call him anything other than that. And understand I say this not out of disrespect, out of respect, because he can easily be in the main event, job for people, help start storylines, help end storylines, and be a transitional champion. That does not mean you're not a good main eventer. It just means they're using you in that respect, which actually will help the product. And since I talked about Dolph, I might as well talk about Ryback. Because you're now having another guy who looked like he isn't doing anything, but another guy who's not doing anything and is going to get something. The person who is the most over for the IC elimination match, I believe, is Ryback. I don't care about anyone else winning. If anyone else wins, it's stupid. For the simple reason, Ryback is the most over. It's the most polished at this moment. And really, when you really look at it, Ryback should be in the main event already. He should have this title so he can have a moment to run with it so he can be springboarded into the main event again. And that's where I would love to see it. Bad News Barrett and Ryback are both from NXT when it was finally shown from FCW. When you look at this entire show shows a lot of former NXT hopefuls who have either had their chance but then got hurt, or had their chance or got buried. And in this respect with Ryback, this Elimination Chamber match is his chance to get up. I am so hoping that Ryback wins this because he's the best person to win it. The match itself really doesn't matter. But here's a match that was good and had a good ending. And that is Neville versus the Stardust, who for some reason is messing with the guy from Arrow. Why? Were you going to do something Elimination Chamber, bring Arrow in? It's no better than Entourage. You really need to leave the celebrities alone once in a while, WWE, and just focus on wrestling. But the match was good. And then Bo Dallas comes out, beats the crap out of Neville again. Neville gets a couple of hits in. But in the end, we got two former NXT champions going up against each other in Elimination Chamber just to see who is the best on the current roster. I find this refreshing. This isn't some old thing that we've seen so many times. Since they're from NXT, people are going to go, oh, wait a minute. Who are these guys? I mean, Neville, we understand NXT, but Bo Dallas was in NXT? Yes, he was. He was one of the champs. So is Neville. He was a champ who beat Bo Dallas and forced him to go into WWE. Which, this gives us a history, background that we can actually draw from that could actually work. And that reminds me of Kevin Owens. The promo segment they did for him, the video package, was actually very good. I'm very impressed that the WWE actually did his promo package decently well. Here's a match that I find, why? Paige versus Tamina. Now, you guys know how I feel about Paige and Tamina. I love me some Tamina and I love me some Paige. But here's the problem. Why in the blue hell do you have a triple threat going into Elimination Chamber? I'm doing this right now. Because when it really comes down to it, I'm going to say this very clearly before this match happens and the Raw afterward. If Naomi does not win, why the blue hell did you even give her the chance to become a heel? They should have left her as a face and just left this bullshit the way it was. Because the way it really boils down to, and it's pissing me off, I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, when you see this, the way this boiled down, it's, instead of having Naomi win, then facing Paige later, you're doing it all right now, which gives us no interest. Paige should have a feud against Naomi because Naomi had a legitimate gripe that they had. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. All the divas came to Kane and said, we want a battle royal. They should never had the battle royal because Naomi should have had the chance to go up against a Nikki Bella at Elimination Chamber. We didn't get that. So now Paige wins it. Naomi gets disenfranchised, beats the crap out of Paige. Paige goes away. Naomi gets Tamina to help her to deal with Brie and Nikki, who are total heels, bullshit that you're turning them face because of Daniel Bryan being hurt again. I think it was stupid to actually do that. You should have left them as heels, and it would have been better for Naomi to just win the title as a face, because now as a heel, she's a face. And everyone sees her as a face. And then the Bellas are so bullshit heels, and Michael Cole cannot sell it. This is stupid. You should have just left it the way it was and then built on top of it, and it's dumb. But you have one NXT woman named in the page, one NXT woman named in Naomi Knight. This really focuses on all the people who basically have been in NXT. The last two things I'm going to talk about, if I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. New Day versus everybody. They are trying to sell New Day as heels so hard, it sucks. It's not working. The person out of New Day I really feel should be really a dark heel should be Kofi Kingston. Kofi should be the one who leads New Day, not Xavier Woods, for the simple reason that Kofi's the oldest wrestler between the three, who had the most experience between the three, and who honestly should be the most angry of the three, because he has been screwed over for so many years. But since they're not going there, you got this. I have no interest in this match. None. Is it funny seeing the New Day get their asses kicked? To a point, yes. But the people I believe were the most spotlighted was the Primetime Players and Cesaro and Kid. Those are the only ones that were the most spotlighted. The Ascension, forget them. Lucha Dragons, forget them. Los Matadores, forget them. Who cares? But I believe these three are the only ones in the spotlight. That's New Day, Cesaro and Kid, and the Primetime Players. Those are the only ones that are going to care about Elimination Chamber. But I really care about the Tag Team Elimination Chamber as it is. But that's what I'm stuck with. Finally, the contract signing for Dean Ambrose. The opening was good. The match that Kane and Seth Rollins had, I don't really care about. It did make Dean Ambrose look good, and this is all that mattered. Particularly, Dean got taken away by the cops. You know what I would like? I would so like that the WWE would just bring in plainclothes cops instead of dressed up fucking detectives to arrest somebody. I would find it refreshing if they used the actual type of clothes that are from that town. You can actually ask the police department to have a couple of actual officers come in, fake weapons, go and arrest the guys if they're willing to do it, and that will look better than these stupid detectives that looked exactly the same fucking way. Not every detective comes in a fucking suit, ladies and gentlemen. If they do, there's fucking something going on, because they have ordinary detectives that have jeans, jackets, and sneakers. If they actually did that, that would actually be more appealing than this bullshit. Vince is really out of touch with this. But this is what it really comes down to. You have a Dean Ambrose who looks really good. You have a Seth Rollins who looks semi-good. And you got a Roman Reigns who is a, let's just be honest, at this moment he's a sidekick. But it makes sense to have him as a sidekick. You must keep him out of the way for Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins to do their bit. Because I believe that it's eventually going to happen that Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns will be going after the titles. In other words, if Dean does win this, Roman Reigns will be his first challenger. And we'll probably have a Roman Reigns heel turn. It would actually be the wisest thing to do for him at this moment. I mean, he's still over as a face. But if you turn him back to a heel, I think that would be the wisest thing to do. But how do I feel about this show? Well, I'm going to say this. This really felt like a spotlighting of former or current NXT talent. And it makes you wonder, if NXT can produce this amount of people with a pretty good quality, what else can we really be expecting from them? But you guys tell me how you feel about this show. Honestly, this felt like above average show. But I'm glad to see NXT guys and girls there. And I hope you enjoyed the Zane Pugh Same view. Please give me a comment below. You're about to see 2 new debate of the weeks. One, actually both of them on NXT. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace out.